guys, this is Oksana Fine Art and welcome to Technical Thursdays. Today my video will be more on the talkative side because there has been a lot of reflecting happening in my artistic art journey. So hopefully I am able to reach some of your minds through this video. So stay with me and enjoy the video. Now, if you are an artist and you are reflecting on your own artistic journey, and especially when it comes a time you are writing your artistic goals down, whether you're doing it weekly, monthly, or yearly. So you may find this information helpful. I will be talking to you about my own artistic experience and this is basically what led me into making this video for you guys because of my personal reflections. Now, every year I sit down and I write down my artistic goals and where I want to be. So this is why I called it Am I There Yet? Am I there to where I want to be in terms of succeeding and achieving the goals that I have created for myself. Now, I noticed something that has been reoccurring and happening pretty much almost every year for the last few years that I've been writing my goals down. But when I look back and see what has come true and what has not come true, I notice that not much has changed. Now that's made me realize that I must be doing something wrong. Why has not some of my art goals moved up, or has it at least come true, maybe partially or even fully? So that's why I'm going to talk to you about few things that may prevent you from achieving your art goals. So number one thing will be setting unrealistic goals for yourself. This one is a very important aspect, in my opinion, in order to achieve your goals. So let me show you through my own personal example. I noticed what I may have been doing wrong is when I set, for instance, that I will share with you one goal, and one of those goals was winning an art competition. I'll just be frankly and just say that yes, I would love to do that. It could elevate my art on so many levels. It could stimulate me to create more, to maybe some sort of validation where I know I'm on the right track. And this is just one of the things that I wish to achieve, among other things. Now let's take a look at that goal. It's a very large goal, and I think what the problem may be is creating unrealistic time expectation for it. So instead of the achieving by the end of the year, I can stretch it for 2, maybe even 5 years, and maybe by the end of the 5th year, that could be my goal. And I think it's really important to self-evaluate where you at in your art experience and your art journey, and allow yourself enough time to get to that goal or get as close as you can. Now that leads us to the next important aspect, which is breaking it down. Now, so once we have this large goal to work with, we need to break it down into smaller goals. Why? Now that can at least give us more time to, for example, by the end of the 5th year, I can achieve what I want to achieve in terms of the competition. But how do I get there? Let's break it down into smaller parts, smaller steps that will get me there, or at least what I think that would get me there. When you also break it into smaller goals, it allows you more time and more room for some mistakes happening or some frustrations happening. It will allow you more time to go in with your own speed, because everyone is at their own stage. of their artistic journey. And it would not be fair to say that for that person with those crazy skills, they should just win the competition in a year or less. It will be unfair because they may feel opposite way from what you are thinking, and they may have worked super hard, and we don't even know the backstory, what happened, how each person gets to where they at, right? So you have to take your own journey in your own hands and be patient. Be patient with yourself, create those small goals, and really just be thankful of achieving your small goals. And that takes us to the third aspect, which is celebrating the small wins. Now, where there are small goals achieved, there's small wins, right? And they are our fuelings that will keep us so motivating throughout our artistic journey. If we don't feel accomplished for small goals, we may enter an artist block, which can really affect us in different ways. Has it happened to you? It has definitely happened to me. We may be hung up too much on something that will prevent us from keep going, and if we don't even celebrate even small things that may be like, oh, it's not big deal, create that not big deal into much bigger big deal for your own self. It will help you with confidence, right? It will help you with moving forward, keep on practicing, and despite what others may think or of you or suggest to you, right? Celebrate small achievements. It's so important to feed your soul with positive reinforcement, and that way you are gonna get there. So the fourth very important aspect, in my opinion, is lack of structure. Now, what I mean by that is when we write down our artistic goals, whether in our journal or planner or even as a digital calendar or tool, we actually may need to work much harder than just writing things down. I think it's very important to create a structure, a plan, where you can break it down into even by hours, or for instance, look at your own schedule, look at your calendar, and figure out when you have free time or how much time. You can start with, how much time do I want to allow myself to in my art, okay, to devote to my art. So if it's on a weekly basis, like for example, okay, between work and the family and other commitments, you have, for instance, 20 hours for each week. Maybe it's less for you, but get those numbers, and based on those numbers, try to break even those numbers into possibly by day, okay? Like how much per day can you devote to your art, as long as it equals about the same amount of hours you created for yourself per week, right? And then write down what you're gonna do. Be specific, okay? So structure, creating structure is being specific. Being specific how you're going to go about it, what time, how much time you're going to put into it, okay? So it's gonna be completely up to you, but it's good to have that visual plan, structure, that yes, okay, oh, you can set time reminders if you wish to, if this is what works for you, if you operate better by reminding yourself, oh, like, okay, now it's my 2-hour block to work on my art, whether I'm going to catch up on my own social pages, maybe it's time for me to work on my project, or maybe it's to write an art blog. So you determine that goal, right? Or what you're going to work with, and you do it. And that leads us to our next step, commitment. Okay, so commitment is our fifth aspect, and it's such an important aspect. I think, like, so far what I have been talking to you about, everything just goes well together. If you don't do one thing, then the other is going to suffer. So it's important to follow all these aspects, or recognize all these aspects, and do the best you can to your abilities. So commitment, right? How many times have we created a plan but did not commit to it, right? So committing is taking an action. That's as simply as it is. Many of you probably know about the phrase commonly used that says, actions speak louder than words. So yes, you can write so much down, you can talk your ears off to someone, this is what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do. But guess what? If it's just words and nothing done, no action taken, then nothing is going to happen. Nobody is going to provide you with everything and with all the results in front of you without you actually working and putting an effort for committing to your own goals. So I think it's very important that it may be slow, but it's important to put that into action, to actually commit by doing it, not just writing or talking, doing it. And let's move on to our next aspect. Our sixth aspect is lack of self-belief. I included this one because I have personally struggled with self-belief, and it's not a great place to be, not at all. It can drain you physically, emotionally, mentally. It's something that happens to many of you, and I hope you can relate and to see yourself in having those feelings that will doubt you, that will create the lack of self-belief. It's not a good thing. It can really go down the wrong way if you're not careful. So what I can talk to you and encourage you to do is find the support system. It's so important to have that support system of any shape and form. Now, when I talk about and mention support system, by that I mean it can be your loved one, it can be your own self, it could be a self-help book, it could be maybe higher power, it could be anything that you believe that will help you to get you on the right track. That support system where you can talk to or relate to, like, go to when you need it to get to where you're going, okay, to help you with getting on the right track. So I think for most people it will be one of the worst things that can happen when you are not believing in yourself or your artwork, because we are human. It's important. I think what's important is to recognize that you have those feelings. Now, in my experience, when I have shared with myself lack of self-beliefs, for some people it may come as self-pity. It can be misinterpreted if you're not careful with that, because we don't want self-pity. This is like the worst thing that I may think of anybody to feel that towards me, for instance. So I think it's important to recognize that, yes, you're feeling that way. You are lacking in your self-belief. You're having doubts. Yes, we are human. We can't always control with our brain, right? But naturally we can be emotional. There is nothing wrong. I want to tell you that it's not wrong to feel that way. You are allowed to have the feelings you have. It's how we go about them. So what are you going to do with them is what's going to help you with either going up or down. Now, where do you want to be? Do you want to be going up and achieving your goals, or do you want to go down and that's not going to get you anywhere? So my next aspect and my final one is your mindset. So your mindset is very important. Now, when we feel like we are in this deep emotional mental rut, we have to ask ourselves, how did we get to feeling that way? What can we do to change that? And why am I in this rut to begin with? What resources or tools can help me with dealing with this feeling, right? And help me go past that. Now we can, it's now the mindset can work like that. So you are having a negative thought, right? And it's like creates this block on your road to success, to your own success. And now you can make it an eternal stop, or you can make it a temporary stop. What I mean by that is that, okay, so you are feeling that way. It's a small pause, a small stop. It may get you stumbled a little bit, maybe. It's like a kind of a shock in one way. But we need to make this stop actually stop and kind of get it out of the way so you can continue going forward. And changing that mindset, right, through the either support system or your own self-belief or anything that helps is very important. Turn those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Sometimes repetition is some positive reinforcement of positive words, whether you're saying that in the mirror in front of yourself, or you're saying it to somebody else, to your family member or your friend. It's important to feed your brain with positive words. You may not feel like it's doing anything, but it's actually, the more you do it, repetition, the more you do it, the more it's going to help without you even maybe knowing it. And then it will slowly change that mindset. And it's the biggest thing that can help that mindset in our artistic journey. If we're going to be constantly looking down on ourselves, it's not going to get us anywhere. If you're going to constantly doubt our artwork and compare ourselves to other artists, it's not going to get us where we want to be. So take a pause, recognize what you're feeling, what you can do about it, change that unhealthy mindset into healthy mindset, and keep on moving forward. So I hope all these 7 aspects of what you could be doing wrong not to get to where you want to be in your art goal achievements. I hope it spoke to you in different ways, in more than one way, hopefully. And please be kind to yourself, believe in yourself, and I hope it helped you in any way. I'm looking forward to any of your suggestions and comments. I always look for different solutions, even to my own struggles. And sharing it with like-minded people like you is the best thing in the world. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.